name is Jenny Brown. I'm going to be presenting today on our research paper titled Teaching Reading Comprehension Skills to Students with High-Functioning Autism. My focus for the research paper was on reading comprehension skills and the interventions to be used for students with autism. I reviewed articles and textbooks to research interventions that would be appropriate for these students. I found no one specific strategy, but improvements were shown with explicit, consistent instruction. There are things out there that will help, but they must be individualized to the student with autism. Autism spectrum disorder is the fastest growing childhood disorder. A child is diagnosed almost every 20 minutes. There's a wide range of abilities and needs. That's why it's referred to as a spectrum. The most common difficulties in students with autism are communication, social skills, and processing difficulties. It's important for teachers to learn about autism spectrum disorder. General education teachers are more and more likely to have students with high-functioning autism in their classroom. It's often difficult to find the appropriate intervention or strategies to be used to teach reading comprehension to these students with autism because of their learning impairments, difficulty with social skills, communication issues. They may have emotional or behavioral issues, and there's such a wide, varying degree of abilities. This is why it is there's often a lot of trouble finding the appropriate instruction. When you look at high-functioning students with autism, oftentimes they can decode and memorize text, but have trouble recalling the information and with reading and comprehension. They may appear to be more able to read complex, higher text, but with assessments, it was proven otherwise. This shows the complexities of choosing the appropriate instruction for students with high-functioning autism. This hinders identification of the appropriate intervention. There's a large number of programs available, but they may not be all appropriate. Communication and movement difficulties can hinder the child's ability to answer and express the ideas the same way that their typical peers can. In my research, I found that up to 70% of students with autism have average or above average intelligence. This shows that the intelligence is there, but they continue to struggle with reading comprehension. High-functioning autism students need these skills to access the general ed or resource classroom materials and for real-world experiences. Reading comprehension skills spread throughout all areas of a child's life. In my research, I found that students who fall below grade level at young age tend to remain behind in later grades and into adulthood. I was able to find lots of different resources and references. The two that I found most helpful and appropriate for what I was needing was the first one, Reading Comprehension and Autism in the Primary General Ed Classroom. The next was titled Strategies for Increasing Reading Comprehension Skills in Students with Autism Spectrum Disorder, a review of the literature. These both can be found in the reference section of my paper. Referring back to the article titled Reading Comprehension and Autism in the Primary General Education Classroom, they found there were 5 steps to increase reading comprehension in young students. Step 1. Access and build background knowledge by using visual supports and pre-teaching vocabulary. Step 2. Create middle images by doing a picture walk of a picture book. Step 3. Make connections by using graphic organizers. Step 4. Engage in consistent discussions by modeling for students how to generate and ask and answer questions about a text. The asking and answering goes back to the language difficulties that these students often have. Step 5. Summarize understanding by teaching students to create connections and understanding of the text. I plan to use these 5 strategies with a 3rd grade student that I have in my classroom, with materials that I already have. In conclusion, I found there was no one particular strategy or skill to be taught to teach reading comprehension. There are strategies, but the most important thing is a dedicated teacher who is explicit and consistent with the instruction. Reading comprehension is a skill that must be taught repeatedly over a student's lifetime in order for them to gain that skill. Reading comprehension may always be a struggle for students with autism, but it is an important life skill, and we must make sure that we're letting them gain the appropriate instruction. I hope you find this presentation informative and my research paper helpful. Thank you.